Most people chase money, but why is it that only a small percentage of the world actually have it? The average person wants money just as much as everyone else does. However, what separates the average person from the people who actually have money isn't the desire for money, it's instead the desire for purpose. In this video, I'm going to be walking through why we shouldn't chase money. The objective should be chasing purpose. Who do we want to become that attracts the type of money that we make? It all goes back to this idea of having a lack of something. What happens when you chase a dog, right? It runs away. If you want money, it puts an energy out in the universe that you do not have money. When you put that energy out there, that energy becomes, rather than something that attracts financial abundance, instead what you're doing is you're telling the world that you don't have something. Anything that comes from lack, it resists. It doesn't actually happen. So what you have to do instead, you need to think from a place of what is going to generate money. How can I acquire wealth, and who do I need to become, and what purpose do I need to create in the world in order to attract that wealth? The one thing that I did differently, and this is something that I've recognized, to be honest, since starting Sales Growth Club, I've sort of tuned into this a little bit more. When I left my corporate job in sales and went into the remote high ticket space, firstly, I didn't know what high ticket sales was, but I dove in anyway because I saw it as an opportunity to do something different. During that period of time, all I wanted was money. I thought, how can I leverage my time in the most effective way to make as much money as possible? So I went from the high ticket sales space to starting an agency, and my agency was basically building teams. So similar to what we do at Sales Growth Club, but I was building teams for early stage businesses online. So like your fitness coaches, your marketing agencies, that sort of thing. The way I approached that business is the reason why it failed. Everything that I did was for the pursuit of personal income. I wanted that to basically replace my job in remote sales and my job in the corporate space, and it never did. I think the most I made in a month was about 1,500, which is good. And I thought it was great because this was the first time I made money by myself. And I wasn't paid it as a salary or as a commission. It was done through a deal that I closed offering my services. So I thought it was really good. But I ran into so many challenges through the fact that I was charging people like 500 quid a month retainers, a few revenue shares here and there, but I wasn't actually doing the work necessary to get them the desired outcome. My thought process was, I'm going to close them as a client. It's almost like my job is done. And that was never the case. I continued with that agency for about 7 months. It didn't work out for me. And I thought, is this what entrepreneurship is about? I know it takes a while, but I've got no progress. It wasn't until I partnered with my now business partner, Callum. We founded Sales Growth Club together. And we've gone on this trajectory of, trying out a few new things. And we've settled on the idea, which I had in my previous business, which was to build sales teams for companies. I thought to myself, well, it didn't work before. Why would it work again? But we did it anyway. But this time we approached it from a different perspective. Now I wasn't chasing the money. I wasn't thinking about how much money I made in this business. I approached it from a place of, all I want to do is help the sales reps make as much money as possible and make sure that we're creating environments for them to be successful, and then make sure that our clients are making as much money as possible. As a result of that, Sales Growth Club grows and then I have an income essentially. I had to change my mindset, and I had to stop approaching it from a place of lack. I had to stop thinking I don't have money to I have money, it's abundant. All I want to do is service people, and shifting that mindset of focusing on service as opposed to looking to create or looking to get paid has completely changed the trajectory of my business. And it's made me think in a more purpose-driven way. If there's anything you're going to get from this video, start thinking about, rather than how much money can I make, how can I create a bigger impact, right? How can I help more people? How can I be of service to more people? What is my purpose? And this is what it comes down to. So for me, my purpose has, shifted a few times. And to be honest, I would argue that I haven't even tapped into what my overall purpose is yet. However, I would say I'm about 5% in to the sort of things that I want to do in this world, which is great because I'm working quite consistently, but it goes to show that there's a lot more to come. The way I think about purpose is, what legacy do you want to leave behind when you're dead? What should people remember you by? And I always think this, because once we're gone, right? There's nothing left. And they say that after a few generations after you no longer exist, because you're not even a memory anymore. After a certain period of time, people don't know who you are, right? They've never met you before. Their grandparents don't really have a memory of you either. You're just someone in the family tree that ceases to exist. When I think about that moment, I think, well, if I've lived all of this life and I'm going to be a distant memory one day, then I want to leave something behind for my family to know me by. And a lot of men specifically have this idea in life that they want to create legacy. They want to be the person that sets their family up. I have conversations with people every day who, like myself, come from very working class backgrounds and want to change people's lives, or want to change the lives of their families. It always goes back to purpose. This idea of purpose is, what do you want your family, your distant family, to remember you by? When you start thinking about purpose, you start thinking about a much bigger play beyond a few decades, right? You start thinking, where am I going to be in 50 years time? I mean, I'm 27. Now, obviously, you want to take things baby steps. You don't want to think so big that the goal feels unachievable. You need to reverse engineer from that big goal. But this is why it's always good to think about your purpose. If your purpose is the large goal, then you need to think, okay, well, this is where I want to be in 50 years. Where do I need to be in 10 years in order to be on the right trajectory? Then where do I need to be in 5 years? Then where do I need to be next year? It allows you to start thinking from a place of planning, actually creating actionable steps towards that purpose. It's a shame sometimes that I have these conversations with people who I would argue that I'm very close with. Like, have you ever heard like one of your friends say, oh, I want to be a billionaire, or I want to be a millionaire? And I'm thinking, yeah, great. Amazing goal. I want to be a billionaire too. How are you going to get there? And then they're like, oh, I'm not too sure, but I want a Lamborghini. You'll be like, okay, well, what are you doing right now to make that happen? It goes back to that saying of approaching something from lack as opposed to having a purpose. If you aren't a billionaire yet and you say, I want to be a billionaire, but you've done nothing so far to get you there, how is that going to ever happen? Which is why you need to reverse engineer. So let's say your purpose is to be a billionaire. You need to think, okay, well, my purpose can't be a monetary outcome, right? My purpose needs to be something that enables me to become a billionaire, right? Whatever's going to make you feel fulfilled, that is what you need to align to your purpose. Rather than the I want to be a billionaire, it's I want to help so many people and make a massive impact in this world that naturally I will become a billionaire. It will be unreasonable not to. When you're thinking about your future and your goals and what you want to achieve for yourself, think about it from a much bigger scale, right? Think about the purpose at the end. This is not to say that that purpose might change, right? It's very likely that what you want your goals to be now might be different to what they actually are in 10 years time. It will change, but you have an idea, and the purpose behind it isn't so you are so vivid and strict on that goal. It's more so that you can reverse engineer everything. For example, one of my biggest dreams is to have an athletics organization that is documented and helps athletes from a less sports exposed background, like my area of Walthamstow. I was an athlete all growing up, and it was never televised like it is in the US. So I'd like to bring that to the UK and help athletes to get eyes on them for large scholarships and obviously international breakthroughs and the right training and support. That's one of my biggest goals, but it all comes down to having an impact on the world. This idea around reverse engineering can be used in pretty much every aspect of life. Even in your outreach. I've built a business on sales knowledge, and I believe any business owner should know how to sell, or at least educate themselves on trying to learn how to sell. Sales is just a whole massive reverse engineer. I went through one of the softwares that I'm building at the moment, Cashflow, with my team this morning. We looked at where we want to be at the end of the month, and specifically focusing on November. At the time of recording, it's the 29th of October. So we're reflecting on how this month's gone and then focused on pushing for the next month and setting goals for it. All we've done is created a goal at the end, a revenue goal. How many deals need to close? So based on our current close rate, how many meetings do we need to sit? And then how many, and then that's based on how our show rate, how many calls do we need to book? Based on how many calls we need to book, how many outbound messages need to be sent in order to book that many appointments. We've just reverse engineered our revenue goal into a completely separate input, which is just reaching out to X amount of people. So when you think about your purpose, think about what small inputs do I need to be doing right now to make it happen. A purpose is something that takes a lifetime to fulfill, right? If we want something in life, we need to be doing the things now. And even if it's not actionably starting a business, like, you need to be learning the skills necessary to start a business at the bare minimum, whether that's in making an investment into yourself, whether that's reading more books, whether it's consuming more YouTube videos. You need to be doing something right now that's going to accumulate over time and essentially get to that purpose. So anyone watching this, what I would suggest doing is define the purpose and make sure that there's nothing financial attached to it. What you want to do next is, how long is it going to take you to reach that purpose? Identify the timeline. Now, once you've identified that timeline, you want to break that timeline up into chunks. What do you need next year? Then what do you need in the next 5 years? What do you need in the next 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, 50 years? However you feel comfortable breaking that down, I want you to break it down into those chunks and then set individual goals based on those checkpoints. Make sure that at least one of them is next year. Make this realistic, right? Don't say, let's say you're working a 9 to 5 at the moment. Don't set the target for next year you need to be a millionaire. Like, it's possible, but if you set that as your goal, you are likely going to be pretty frustrated throughout the next year if you don't hit it, and it's just going to set you back. I would set a very achievable goal, even if that goal is leaving your 9 to 5 and replacing your income through a service. That is a very solid goal. So set a goal for the year and then span it out and see how your yearly goal is going to then add up to your purpose, which is your end goal. The final thing I want you to do is, what actionable steps do you need to take between now and the end of the year to make it happen? So now I want you to break that into quarterly goals. So every single 3 months, what do you have? What did you need to achieve? Then based on those quarterly goals, I want you to bring it back and say, between now and the next 3 months, what do I need to achieve? So that's the first quarter goal. Then break that into months. What do I need to achieve at the end of this month, at the end of next month, at the end of next month, in order to reach that first quarter? Then for the second quarter, you plan out each month. And then you just take action. I just have a calendar. I just block out my time in my calendar just so I know I'm being as productive as possible. And something as simple as that can completely change your life. It can completely change your life. I feel like entrepreneurship completely changed my life, and I want entrepreneurship to change everyone else's life as well. I'm going to make the biggest effort to put content out there to inspire people, but also to guide individuals on how to take the actionable steps towards becoming an entrepreneur and scaling your business successfully. Start from something as simple as an idea. Get the idea down, and then find out what your next steps are, and then take it day by day. And who knows where you're going to be at the end of the year.